Welcome to the Get Your Pink Back Project. I'm your host, Dr. Christelle Oliver Dussault, and this is your space to pause, breathe, and return to yourself. One story, one insight, one conversation at a time. Let's begin. Welcome back, everyone. So today I have Sara with me, who lives in Dublin, Ireland, and she is a mum of three, a graphic designer currently on a power pause,
Yeah.
and she's kindly taken time to chat with me today to share her experience through motherhood. So welcome.
Hi, Christelle. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So tell me a little bit about you, your life, and where you were at before you became a mum.
So I started my motherhood journey very early in life. I was 17 when I got pregnant, and I was a teenager. So the world revolved around me, and naive and innocent and all this kind of stuff at the same time. So
Is motherhood something that you had thought about before or before you stepped into it or imagined?
I remember sort of as a teenager thinking, I don't think that I want kids because, you know, when I would see kids having a temper tantrum or something like that, oh God, that's so annoying, and I don't want to have to deal with that. And then,
Mhm.
then I got pregnant, and there was just no question, I'm
Mhm.
going to have this baby and wanted to be a mother to it. And yeah,
And how did your transition into motherhood go once she was born?
it was a massive shock, a
Mm.
huge shock. But also at the same time, I felt like I kind of woke up. It made everything made sense really because especially being a teenager and a bit of a rebellious teenager,
Mhm.
um, I thought my parents were working against me.
Okay.
They were limiting me and holding me back from all the things that I wanted to do. And when I had my daughter, like literally just holding her for the first time,
Mhm.
it just it was a realization that, oh my God, like this is what is making the world turn.
Mhm.
It's this love that you have for someone, and I got where my parents were coming from. Like everything they were doing was to keep me safe, and
Mhm.
um, yeah, it was just a realization, like, oh, this is what it's all about.
Yeah. And in those first kind of few months or even years, what did you find most challenging? Because becoming a mom at such a young age, you wouldn't have necessarily had peers going through the same thing as you were.
Yeah, yeah. So I was the only one um, in my group of friends. And I didn't know anyone actually my age or even
Mhm.
close to my age that had been through a similar situation. So it was very isolating.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's a real important age, kind of, 16, 17, 18, you're becoming more of a person and
Mhm.
you're finding independence and confidence and really discovering who you are.
Mhm.
And a part of that is where your parents are, kind of letting you go a little bit more, giving you a bit more freedom, and you
Mhm.
really discover who you are at that age. I
Yeah.
think it's really critical. Um, and for me, that part got put on pause
Mhm.
and I had to grow up in a totally different way. So I was suddenly responsible for this tiny human
Mhm.
being, and what I wanted or needed didn't come into it anymore.
Mhm.
So, in one way, I was way ahead of my peers,
Mhm.
maturity wise, and in other ways, I was way behind them because I didn't get that self discovery period of life that they got.
Mhm.
Um,
When did that come for you?
I think, yeah, probably into my 20s, sort of as she got
Mhm.
older and was a bit more independent, and I could go out a bit more and kind of
Mhm.
try and catch up and a little bit of traveling and that kind of stuff. Now, it was always very curbed, I wasn't kind of traveling the world or anything like that, but
Mhm.
just little
Yeah.
trips to see the world. Sometimes I brought her with me, sometimes I went without her because my parents were fantastic in helping with her.
Mhm.
Mm. and going to college as well was also a huge part for me. It was really good to go there and learn and be around people my age and, just realize that we all have our own stuff going on.
Yeah.
Um, I was still the only one that
Mhm.
had a child in
Mhm.
college, but still, it was a growth period for me by being there. Yeah.
Did you ever feel lost through it all?
Yes. Yeah. Very much so. I think, especially being a mum so young, I really didn't trust my instinct. Um, and I would often look to my parents to for advice or guidance. And
Mhm.
um, yeah, so it's I really felt like I couldn't do it on my own.
Mhm.
Um, looking back now, I realize I mean, I wasn't doing it on my own. I had a lot of
Mhm.
support and help, but I got through it. I did it.
Mhm.
Um, and and I should have listened to myself a bit more.
Mhm.
Go with that kind of gut feeling. So, yeah, just kind of feeling lost and like, where do we go from here? What?
Yeah. And how did it compare to when you became a mom second time around? Because you were at a very different stage in your second time around.
I was really positive about it. It was just so different. For starters, it was planned, and there was a lot of there was financial security and stability, and I just said I'm gonna for myself as well, for as a healing kind of process
Mhm.
to try and control it as much as I could,
Mhm. Mhm.
because everything had happened the first time around was so out of my control. Uh,
Mhm.
but I have to say, because of the gap, there's 15 years between
Mhm.
the two of them, and I got that awful familiar feeling of, oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing when I had her.
Mhm.
And I was in the hospital and I was looking at her and I was like, I don't know. I don't remember how to do this. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
And I was trying to remember, like, how did I do it with her the first time? How did I do this and how did I do that? And the reality of it is that they all have very different personalities, and
Mhm.
so even the stuff that I could remember didn't necessarily apply. And so yeah, I felt like I was doing it all over for the very first time again.
Interesting.
Um, because a lot of time had passed, and there was some kind of muscle memories there,
Mhm.
but a lot of it was gone. So yeah, it was a big shock to the system again.
Did you feel like you lost yourself again? I know you mentioned, like, you didn't have a fully formed identity the first time you went around, so you felt like that wasn't even something that you could go through and that that identity probably came more as your first was older. Did you notice an identity shift second time around?
Yeah. I think what happened was, because I was kind of brought back to all those years ago, um, I was almost reliving it in my mind. I was going through
Mhm.
it again. I was bringing up memories and trauma and experiences, good and bad, and yeah, I kind of went right back there to how difficult it was at that
Mhm.
time. And also with my first child, it's only like experience and years later realizing that I definitely had postnatal depression after her.
Mhm.
It was undiagnosed. I just thought, oh, I'm going to cry again every single day for about 6 months. And I was landed right back into it with my middle child.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I just didn't think that that would happen, because I thought the first child things were so tumultuous, and um,
Mhm.
I didn't know what was going to happen. That was why I struggled so
Yeah.
with her, and so I thought, this is gonna be a breeze second time round, and I had all these emotions come back up for me, and I struggled the second time round, and that was really disappointing for me because I thought if I applied A, B, and C to it, I can
Mhm.
control everything about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, totally lost again for a while.
And
Um,
did you find it easier to seek help? Or did you even seek help the first time around?
no, I didn't seek help the first time around. I had no idea.
Yeah. What about second
Like,
time around?
second time around, I did. Yes, yeah, went to the
And
doctor.
how did that look like for you?
That looked like for me again with the needing to control the narrative. It was a massive failure going into
Mm.
the doctor's office and saying I'm not coping.
Yeah.
Um, but once I kind of got past that and started getting better, I realized, you know, nobody can control whether that happens or not.
Mhm.
The thing you can do
Yeah.
is be gentle with yourself and work on getting better.
Yeah.
And
We
then,
put a lot of pressure on ourselves,
yeah, a huge amount of pressure. Yeah, yeah. Uh,
unrealistic most of the time.
so yeah, yeah, and like it just, there's a lot of things you can't control with little babies. When you are trying to get well yourself, like
Mhm.
sleep is
Yeah.
so important, and that's probably the biggest thing that is taken from you.
Mhm.
Mm, yeah, so it looked like not being so hard on myself. And
And what helped you get out of that? You mentioned you went to your GP. Were there any, individual in your support network that
yes, so
did you or did you seek any other help professionally?
I joined a breastfeeding group, um, and it was through that group just speaking with the women, and they were just so open and welcoming and not hiding these difficulties, and like just connecting with them, and then through that some of the women did a running club, and I joined the
Mhm.
running club, and I loved it. That exercise really just, like, got my adrenaline going and gave me something to do with, and I brought the baby with me, so it wasn't something that I had an excuse where I could say, "Oh, well, I have no babysitter,"
Yeah.
I took her with me in the buggy, we'd go
Yeah.
running, I'd feel amazing for the rest
Mhm.
of it. And then from that, we got into a group where we'd meet up and go sea swimming, and we'd each take turns with the babies on the beach. And
Mhm.
okay, you guys run into the water now. And again, you just like you're buzzing. So you've got that human connection.
Mhm.
You're being included with your babies. It's not kind of
Mhm.
something like, oh, well, you have to leave the babies at home to do this.
Mhm.
So they could be part of your day. And yeah, just that connection was massive. Just kind of finding other people that you could be honest with.
Yeah. A shared experience
Yeah.
and that you're not alone in all of this, which it sounds like you really didn't get the opportunity to have that first time
Yeah,
around.
I wouldn't have had that first time around.
Yeah.
So yeah, second time around, it really, really helped.
And then how did that compare to third time around? Because I believe third time around, it was the middle of the pandemic, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it was such a healing experience actually, which is crazy to say considering how chaotic it was. So it was an unplanned home birth.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She just
I wasn't
decided,
aware of
yes,
that.
I've all girls. The third baby decided she was coming, and
Okay.
yeah, she came really fast. Didn't have time to get to the hospital. No pain relief. Um, yeah, had her at home on the sitting room floor. And my husband was there, and the paramedics arrived just sort
Mhm.
of in time to help deliver her.
Mhm.
Um, and it was just such a different experience. For starters, I'd always kind of gone into each labor hoping that I would have a natural birth
Mhm.
and avoid the epidural. Um, for no particular reason, it was just something that I felt I wanted.
Mhm.
And had an epidural on the first two, and you know, things got intense at home, and I was thinking, "Oh my god, I can't do this without an epidural," but I
Mhm.
actually didn't have a choice,
Yeah.
and I found I just got I just listened to my body, and my body
Mhm.
was telling me what it needed to do, even
Mhm.
though it was this kind of scary situation, like we don't have professionals around us. Anything could go wrong. It's a very vulnerable situation, but I listened to my body. My body was telling me, this is what you got to do.
Mhm.
And I just went through it. And
Mhm.
I think, they brought us to the hospital afterwards just for a quick checkup
Mhm.
and check the baby and all the rest. But I was back home that evening
Mhm.
and I even got up and made a cup of tea for myself and my husband. I felt great.
Mhm.
And I don't know, my body was just in much better shape than it had
Mhm.
been
It
after my
sounds like it was quite an empowering experience for
it
you.
was, and so positive considering it was totally out of my control. Um,
Mhm.
but just I suppose because it was my 3rd labour, I knew what to expect. If that
Yeah.
happened first time round, that would be absolutely terrifying. But yeah,
Mhm.
I just I loved that it was a natural birth. She herself was a very relaxed baby,
Mhm.
and the other 2 were not great sleepers.
Mhm.
This one just would doze anywhere. And, with the first 2, I didn't know what time I'd be going to bed, basically, in
Mhm.
the evening. I was like, "Well, what's it gonna be tonight?" And the 3rd one, she was
Roll
just
the dice.
so easy, and I'd say, "I'm
Mhm.
gonna go to bed now." I'd take the baby with me, and
Mhm.
we'd go sleep, and it was just amazing.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I took the hint, and I figured that's the last one because I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, like, 3rd time round, it was really amazing,
Much better.
and, she kinda just fit in with the rest of us.
Mhm.
We went with the flow and, like, yeah, yeah, much easier.
Did you struggle with your mental health or lose yourself 3rd time around?
Not initially.
Mhm.
I did great. For the first year, I'd say I think everything was great. And it was after that. So I don't even know what the kind of trigger was, but I just noticed just kind of feeling a little bit down. It wasn't as obvious as the other times. And it's the just the massive to-do list that never
Mhm.
gets done. Just a kind of frustrated feeling and just maybe a little less color in my day to day.
Yeah.
So just low mood, I suppose. And
Mhm.
I started having to question, like, why is that
Mhm.
happening? Because I don't see anything wrong, really.
Mhm.
But I suppose what was happening is that you've got 3 kids, and you know they each require so much of you.
Mhm.
Um, that it is very hard to know what it is that you need yourself. And
Yeah.
you just kind of knuckle down and you get through the day and you don't actually ask yourself, did I get anything that I needed?
You mentioned that you noticed a shift that I think was a bit kind of grayer and duller and chaotic around the 1-year mark.
Mhm.
I wonder, did you breastfeed your 3rd girl, and when did you wean or stop breastfeeding her?
So yeah, I breastfed all 3 of them. And I actually didn't stop breastfeeding her until she was just over 2.
Okay.
So yeah, because I was actually aware that that if I'd stop breastfeeding, it might lower my mood for a little while.
Mhm.
Yeah, so no, I was still going with that, and that was just easy for me at that point. I didn't have any struggles with that. But I think it was just that day to day, there was no time to kind of question what do I need to kind of fill
Mhm.
my cup. And you're not able to use the bathroom on your own. You're not able to shower on your own. The dinner that you just spent ages making, they're not going to eat, and all of that kind of
Throw it on
stuff.
the floor.
Kind of destroying. Um, so yeah, I think that was happening as I was just kind of fading a little bit.
Mhm.
Um,
And was there a moment where you noticed that I need to change something, or else I'm gonna continue to fade?
yeah, definitely. I was getting to a point where my physical health was being affected.
Mhm.
So I think up until that point, any kind of mental health struggles or emotional struggles because you can't see them. We're very much getting kind of put to the side and just like, let's keep struggling through and
Yeah.
just, head down, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then physical manifestations started happening, and
Mhm.
I'm actually so tired all the
Mhm.
time. Um,
Mhm.
I'm actually sleeping okay, but I'm still exhausted the next day. My kind of joy for life is disappearing. I've all these aches and pains, and no one seems to know what they are. And I'm
Mhm.
trying to eat healthy and I'm trying to exercise, but it's just making me more exhausted. I'm
Mhm.
really questioning like why is that? Um, so I knew like, yeah, okay, it's starting to physically affect me. I have to
Mhm.
start doing something to bring myself back because they all need me here.
Yeah. Yeah. You're the life
Yeah,
source of the family unit.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was more than just trying to eat healthily and exercise. I actually stopped exercising because um physically I couldn't
Mhm.
have the strength to do it.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
actually just started giving myself a bit of a rest
Okay.
instead of kind of trying to do it all. Um
Did you find it hard to rest and pause?
yeah, I would still find it very hard to rest. If there is a part of the day where I'm sitting down, I actually might just fall asleep. So to avoid that, you have to keep going.
Yeah.
Um, but what I started to do was I went in nature. That was
Mm.
me, what I was drawn to. And I started planting vegetables and learning about flowers and weeds that would grow around you naturally and what kind
Mhm.
of nutrition you can get from those and what's
Mhm.
safe to eat and what's not safe to eat. And I just found it so interesting
Mhm.
that it gave me a little spark of,
Okay.
oh, like there were things that I used to enjoy before all of this.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I was just kind of following this kind of instinct of my body and my mind are telling me to go outside
Yeah.
and do something with nature. And yeah, so I went through with that and it's become a hobby. And I never would have been interested in gardening when I was young
Mhm.
whatsoever. But I love being outside. Um, and there is something very wholesome about it. Um, and you can do it anytime you want. You don't have to have a garden. You can just be outside and you can notice what's growing around you. And it's a kind of a mindfulness, isn't it? Really, it's like
It is.
just noticing what's around you and listening to the
Mhm.
birds and just breathing,
Yeah.
breathing.
It's slowing down and being present
Yeah, yeah,
and with the
definitely.
elements, which can be so hard to do when you have young kids and you're trying to juggle everything. And it's interesting, even you just comparing how with each child, you needed something different to connect with yourself.
Yeah,
Um, each experience was different, and you can't apply the same tools you had over and over again. You need to really look inwards, and you use the words, "Oh, I'm being called to nature," and how
yeah,
that really
yeah,
pulled you out. And you can even see when you're talking about it that you're, smiling more and really, invigorated by it. So how are things now? Now kids are 4, 7, and 23.
yeah. So they are still needing me just as much
Mhm.
as ever, and it's really, really tough going. Um, so like I don't kind of have a here's the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the thick of it. We are, but I get a lot of kind of moments of joy.
Mhm.
So rather than kind of looking at the big picture, like, oh God, they've had three, in the course of a day, there's been
Mhm.
four meltdowns.
Mhm.
One of those involves a smashed glass. We need to get a plumber for a leak that we've had going on,
Mhm.
um, and all these things that could possibly be going wrong.
Mhm.
I'm kind of using tunnel vision to focused on the good parts. So,
Yeah.
okay, one of them might have had 3 or 4 meltdowns in a day, but there was that lovely little moment where I saw her share with her
Mhm,
sister or just sing a little song without
mhm.
knowing that anyone was listening and just really holding on to those little, like,
Yeah.
glimmers is what I call them.
Mhm.
Gives me so much
Yeah.
joy. Um, Being able to watch them kind of thrive in areas where they've had personal difficulties and then, knowing that I've been helping them overcome that is a
Mhm.
real, you get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, just listening to myself and remembering like it's actually okay to not answer them straight away when they're calling you.
Yeah.
Take a
They will
moment.
be okay. They will
They will
survive.
be okay. They're safe. I just need a minute.
Mhm.
I'll be with you then. And just recognizing my own emotions because,
Mhm.
you know, if I don't do that, I end up having a tantrum like they do,
Mhm.
and then I regret it. And then I'm like, I'm sorry that I did that. And,
Yeah.
you it avoids all of us having meltdowns.
Yeah. Which I'm sure still happens some days.
Oh,
Happens to all of
definitely.
us.
Definitely. I haven't figured out how to completely stop it, but yeah, it
Yeah.
helps.
If you could speak to your younger self or give yourself words of wisdom, what would you tell her?
Um, I think listen to your gut more
Mhm.
because I didn't. I just assumed I know nothing. I need to lean on people for advice and
Mhm.
wisdom and I did. I knew a lot of it. Like looking back, there's definitely mistakes that I made raising my eldest, but I actually did a really good job too.
Mhm.
And it
I
feels
think you
good
did.
to say that. And considering my circumstances, uh,
Mhm.
yeah, like we did okay. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, to just be less hard on myself.
Mhm.
Although it did kind of give me drive to work harder at things.
Mhm.
So, it benefited in a way.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, just be more gentle and
Yeah.
trust yourself.
Is there anything you think society misunderstands about the shift into motherhood?
Nobody knows what's involved unless they are in it. Nobody, you cannot explain it because
Mhm.
so much of it is invisible.
Mhm.
Just don't see it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it has a bit of I don't know, a negative uh, reputation.
What do you mean by that?
I think some women would feel, like career women who have families, might not talk about the family side as much. Like it's more focused on, well, these are my achievements career
Mhm.
wise, um, because there's something more solid about it. And you
Mhm.
can't explain how well you've organized their
Mhm.
clothes and the system and the thought
Yeah.
process that went into that so that they don't get like messed up or whatever, that it's a
I know. Yeah.
comparison. But I don't know, you can't kind of show your achievements with
Yeah.
motherhood.
There's not a certificate, there's not an
Yeah,
award.
yeah,
Um, it's
and it's
way
very
harder than work. I would say it's way harder than my job as a physician.
yeah, and I felt the same as well, like, when I was working, I would say, it's a bit of a break. You're going and you're gonna get your set breaks. You're gonna eat with both hands or a knife and fork without someone on your lap. You get
Yeah.
toilet breaks whenever you want,
Mhm.
and when you're doing a really good job, someone will tell you,
Yeah.
you know, and you get a pay rise and you get a salary and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. You don't get that at home.
The
Um,
recognition.
so yeah, and it's around the clock. It's,
Mhm.
you get to go home from your job. Yeah. The invisible workload is insane. And I don't think anyone would understand that unless they're in it.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to share that I haven't asked you about today?
I think what I've found in really difficult times, especially when you're kind of feeling very isolated as a mother, is to take a little bit of a risk and be a bit open and vulnerable with other mothers,
Hmm.
because I think we all have our guard up a lot of the time.
Hmm.
There's this like, don't, you know, everybody, if you're comparing yourself to anyone, which is just the worst thing that you can do, so don't do that. Um, everyone else looks like they have their shit together, but
Hmm.
you know, if they say they do, they're lying. So,
Yep.
you need to kind of reach out to them and say, I struggled with this or that. And it often opens up a conversation, and you can get past the politeness and actually have a proper connection with someone. And sometimes if I'm the first person to do that, it makes other people feel safe to then go,
Hmm.
okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Just makes it more real
Yeah,
and makes you feel less alone.
yeah,
I've been asking everyone if there is a quote or mantra that has been meaningful to them, and you shared, "This too shall pass."
yeah.
And I think that is, yeah, that definitely gets you through the hard bits.
Yeah, yeah, it does, because when you're in the thick of it, whether it's sleepless nights or, sickness or whatever it is, it will come to an end. I don't know when, but it will.
But it will.
And yeah, you just have to hang on to that when things get really hard.
Hmm.
It isn't
And see the glimmers. I like that.
the
What's
glimmer. Yeah,
Yeah. Hold on to the glimmers.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. I think that will speak to a lot of women and really help them see that we're all in this together, and all our experiences can be different, but there are some, shared difficulties and shared joys in motherhood.
Definitely.
The information shared on the Get Your Pink Back Project podcast is for educational and general informational purposes only. Although I am a medical doctor, I am not providing medical, psychological, or professional advice specific to you or any individual. This podcast does not establish a physician-patient relationship, and the content should not be used as a substitute for personalized medical care, mental health support, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your own physician, mental health professional, or qualified healthcare provider with any questions you have regarding your health or well-being. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this episode spoke to you, I'd love for you to share it with another woman who might need it. And if you feel called, leave a rating or review. It helps grow this community. Remember, you are not lost, you are becoming. I'll see you next time on the Get Your Pink Back Project podcast.